Welcome to part 2 of your section 5 review. I'm going to keep this one pretty short. We're only going to do one slope practice problem, but you will be asked to do this on your section 5 quiz, so it is important that we go through this. Alright, first thing I want to do is I want to go through the steps in order to find your slope. So the first thing you're going to do is you will plot your points. So on the right here we have a data table. Please ignore this scribble that I did. Right? But we have volume, right, in milliliters, and mass, and the units here would be grams. So we're going to start by plotting our points. My volume is down here on the x-axis, and my mass is on the y-axis. So when I plot these points, right, my first point is going to be 2.5 and 5. So I want to go to 1 second. Sorry about that. Hans, my dog, thought it would be a good idea to chew a bone on the hardwood floor right while I was recording the video. Alright, so we have our first point of 2.5 milliliters and 5.0 grams. So I will go to 2.5 and to 5.0, and I will make my data point. And I will do this for all of my data points. So next one, we have volume of 3.0 and mass of 6.2. So I will go down to 3.0 and up to 6.2. Now I don't have a graph paper, so my points are not going to be perfect. Next one, we have a volume of 4.2 and a mass of 8.5. So we'll go to 4.2 and up to 8.5. And the last point I need to plot would be at 5.0 milliliters and 11.0 grams. So I will go down to and over to 5 and up to 11.0. It should be there. All right, good. So now my points are all plotted. Our next step to do, all right, I'm going to cross out step 1. Right, so we plotted our points. So now we will need to draw our line of best fit. Now your line of best fit is not connecting the dots. Right? What we need to do is we need to draw a line, right, that is a good approximation of our slope, because we're going to be finding the slope of that best fit line. We want about equal amounts of points above and below our line. Now I'm going to give it a go. Now I don't have a ruler with me, right? And so I will do my best, and hopefully you're doing your best at home with whatever materials you have. All right, so here's my line of best fit. All right, I have 2 points above. I'm going to call this one below, so I have 2 below. All right, that is an acceptable line of best fit. We do not need to go through our points for it to be correct, and that's okay. All right, so now we can cross off step 2. We drew our line of best fit. Now we need to pick 2 points from our best fit line. All right, oftentimes in class, if you have grid paper, right, so you can see the grid behind your graph, you want to try to pick a point where your line of best fit goes through, right, that crosshair of the grid. All right, now, fortunately, I don't have that, so I'm going to stick with 2 points that I know are as far away from each other as possible. So why don't I pick a point right here and a point right here. You can see how I made these points look different than my data points, because I don't want to confuse these. And I'm going to be using these 2 specific points to find my slope. Alrighty, so we picked 2 points from our best fit line. Right, so important that I wrote it in all caps, right, from your best fit line. Now we need to jot down what our 2 new coordinates are, and we need to include units. Alrighty, so looking down here at the graph, remember down here I'm going to rewrite it above so you can see it. This is our volume in milliliters down at the bottom, and we have mass on the left here. So if I want to come up with the coordinate for this point right here, and this is going to be my first point, right? I would have, let's say I have, and I can even draw a line connecting down, 2.8. Now, 2.8 is not enough. Right? We measured this off of my x-axis, and my units for my x-axis are milliliters. So you need to include that. And now I will go over to find my point. And I am at 5.5. Right? I took this all the way over. And my units on my y-axis are grams. So I will write that in. All right. We're going to do the same thing up top. So, my x, all right, we'll have to take it all the way down. I have 5.7. My units here would be milliliters. And up top, if I take this across the whole way, I would end up with 12.5, and my units would be grams. Good, so now I have my 2 points plotted. And so I can cross that off my list. I only have one more step to go. So now our goal is to plug our variables that we came up with into the slope formula. Our slope formula is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And each of these should be in their own parentheses because we will do the subtraction before we do the division. Alright, so just for your clarification, I'm always going to use the point furthest on the left as my x1 and my y1, right, because this is my x coordinate and y coordinate, and up top or furthest to the right would be my x2 and my y2. Alright, so if my formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right, I can plug in my y's, so my y2 of 12.5 grams minus my y1 of 5.5 grams, and I can plug in my x's, so x2 is 5.7 milliliters, and my x1 is 2.8 milliliters. Alrighty. So remember, like I said before, we want to do the subtraction before we do the division. So I'm going to put these in parentheses. So I have 12.5 grams minus 5.5 grams. So that would get me 7 grams divided by 5.7 minus 2.8 milliliters, so that should get me to 2.9 milliliters. So now we can finish this out and get one number. We don't want a fraction for our slope, we want an integer. Right, so when I type this in my calculator, 7 divided by 2.9, I got 2.4. Now that's not good enough for our slope. We also need our units, so we have a gram divided by a milliliter. And now we have the slope, right, of our line of best fit. Alright, so rewatch this video if you need to. I'm going to end it right now just so I'm not taking up any more of your time. And make sure you are prepared to solve density problems and find slope for your Section 5 quiz.